All right. Today is December 16th. It is 11 a.m. and we've got a scheduling order for a trial to come up with a trial date for continuation of civil restraint, which this order is invalid. It's been invalid since the very beginning, and every continuance of it has been invalid. It's only meant to keep me in jail so that I don't ever get loose to sue the government workers who have intervened so horrifically in my cases and in Heather's cases as well. To just to kind of wreak havoc, I guess, just for their own I don't know why, their own sick pleasure. I don't know why someone would ignore the law or ignore the operational facts that give rise to the law. Judges are human beings, and judges will make good faith mistakes, and they will sometimes make bad faith mistakes. The good thing about being a judge is if you make one of those mistakes, one of those bad faith doozies on purpose, trying to hurt someone because you're having a bad day or you're taking cancer treatments or you're fighting with your spouse or whatever it is, you can fix it. You can fix anything in the interest of justice. If you've lied, if you've cheated, if you've stole, if you've sinned, and you're a judge, you can just say, "Well, I did that, and I'm sorry. I'm going to fix it." But for whatever reason, there's not very many people today that do that. And James Ellison is certainly one of them. James Ellison, as everyone knows, is the husband of our high school French teacher from Marshalltown in the 90s. He's not quite right. All of the attorneys in Marshalltown, the mayor of Marshalltown, Joel Greer, everyone I've talked to has noticed something is really wrong with him. And who knows? Maybe he's got brain cancer. I don't know. I think it's established that he's had some sort of cancer. He was taking chemical treatments, and maybe those affected him. I don't know, but no one seems to know. But he's doing some of the most ornery, obnoxious, illegal, unprofessional, unethical things that a lawyer or a judge could ever do. And everyone's sitting back and just kind of like letting him do it. And it's mind-boggling. And so, I'm at the point now, and where everyone pretty much knows it's not cancer or the governor, which it could be, which it has been before in Iowa, in the second judicial district, where the state has ventured to represent a friend of the governor's, an important person to the governor, like Heather is. Yeah, and they had the whole state apparatus representing this woman, and it turned out to be that the woman was the liar, the woman was the deceiver, the woman was trying to take unconscionable advantage of the man in property and custody and all these things. And governor lent out her power for this lady to do it. And I'm not sure if it's the same case. I still have some research to do on this. But there was also a case in the second judicial district from 2014 to 2018 involving James Ellison, where he did the same things. He was just kind of overruling civil litigants, like their pleadings and their motions to do certain things or to come to agreements or to undo some horrific thing that he did. And he would jump in their way and say, "No, you can't do that," which of course they can. And so I was just reviewing an order. So I'm on the internet, and I'm looking at some of the old pleadings in my case. I'm looking for Heather's original application for civil restraint that said, I didn't wear my seatbelt consistently, or I didn't put my seatbelt on in the driveway, or were in the garage. I didn't wear my bicycle helmet consistently with the kids, and a couple other things. And I couldn't find it. And because my idea was I was just going to go show the original writing and how the original writing itself is not something that any lawyer or any judge or any gas station attendant or retail salesperson or anyone with a high school education or even an eighth grade education would grant or kick someone out of their house or put them in jail for any amount of time. It's just it didn't rise to what it needed to rise to. I mean, there was no putting anyone in fear of losing their life and or receiving gruesome bodily injury, or it was nothing like that. And it's blocked. I can't see it now. And there's a couple other pleadings that I filed that are blocked. It says security level is exceeded. And of course, no one has ever called me up and said, "Hey, Travis, some security level has been exceeded in your case. Here's everything that's affected." You know, and then the first thing that's affected is supposedly the very petition that started everything off. You know, it's blocked. Let me find out what it says here. Docket withheld. Docket security level exceeded. And it gets rid of like the title. It gets rid of everything. And no one knows what the hell it is. To me, it looks like this is a chief judge and some assistant administrators who are blocking evidence so that I can't see them and I can't share them back with the court or with a judge who does have some ethical capacities or the press or whoever. And that's just, we don't do that in America. I mean, we don't prevent people from seeing what the original charges were against them, or we don't conceal truth. We don't suppress truth. We don't. It's crazy. The only people who avoid judgment or avoid the light of discovery are people who are guilty. I mean, we don't even have to. Probably don't even need a trial at this point. But anyway, as I was looking here, I was pissed, and I went up a little ways, and I saw my first pleading. There was an order written on the 25th of. There was an order written on the 25th of October, or on the 24th of October. And the order said for there to be 1 year no contact between me and Heather. And that was it. And on the 25th, it was amended to say 5 years no contact between me and Heather. And here's how that happened. A whole bunch of horrific, unethical things happened before this. I'm just going to skip them in the interest of time. And they're all equally bad. They're horrible. But this is the one. So my wife comes in and she says, "I would like Travis to be out of the house for 1 year during the pendency of the divorce. And she would like a togetherness provision, whereby Heather controls everything that I do, like as far as like coming over to the house to eat or stay over when she travels or whatever she had in mind was going to be fine with me." And that's what I was wanting to ask for anyway when I was literally prevented by the judge from negotiating with the civil plaintiff. So anyway, she wants this togetherness provision for my coming and going, sports, church, meals, holidays, vacations, whatever. And the judge goes back into his office, and I was reminded of some old maxims. After the American Revolution, after the Revolutionary War was kind of winding down, there were these two maxims that came out regarding American judges and how they were going to be so much better than the English judges that we kind of had under that system, under that parliamentary system, or the monarchy rather, at that time. And one of them was an American judge doesn't give the plaintiff more than she demands. The reason that is because if a judge does give the civil plaintiff more than she demands or he demands, then you know with 100% certainty that the judge isn't doing what the civil litigants want. He's doing what he wants. So that's a pretty good rule to go by. Don't ever give the plaintiff more than what she wants. And the other one had to do with the personal preference protocol, that judges are not to follow their own personal preference prompted by their own private desire, but they're to yield to truth and to follow the law, not do their own thing. And that's what got us in trouble with the American Revolution in the first place. That was the reason. That's what we were declaring our independence from. So anyway, this guy comes back, and Ellison comes back, and he says, "All right, we'll go with 1 year no contact." And then he gets in my wife's face, and he's yelling at her, "I want you to know, Miss Rouse, you will not be allowed to be together with Travis and the children at the same time for 1 year, or you'll go to jail for 7 days." Heather lost it. And I've told this story before on these videos. Heather lost it. No, that's not what we wanted. That's not what I wanted. He gets mad. Ellison gets mad. Says, "Okay, how's 5 years sound?" Bam. So he already had the order written for 1 year. And that's what Heather had prayed for. So now he has to go back. And, because he's the judge, and when he says 5 years, by God, he means 5 years. So he changes the order to 5 years. I don't think that Heather ever signed it. I can't remember if I did. I was forced to sign something. It might have been this order. They're like, "You're going to sign this or you're not going to eat." That was like, it might have been that order. I don't know, but I don't think Heather ever signed it. And immediately after court, before Heather's even out of the courtroom door, even before the courtroom door has closed, Heather's on the phone to my brother Tony, bawling. "I don't know what happened. He said I can't see him for 5 years. I don't know what to do." And she ends up taking care of it, I guess. She ends up telling Tony that she'll take care of it. She'll do whatever she has to do to take care of it or make it right. And she knows that she's already been lying too. So Heather was having an affair with her boss. Jackson's paternity, she thought, was only known to her. Of course, I had been more than 50% certain for full 5 years at that point. So at that point, I was 99.9% certain. And that was causing me a lot of pain. Her lying about it and not trusting God or trusting the truth to, work itself out. Jackson's paternity story is identical to mine. My mom was married. Anyway, I'm not going to go through all that story. But, so she had a lot on her plate and she was lying. And so when I had her on the stand, I had the presence of mind to ask her about good faith. Does she know what good faith means? Does she know what good cause means? True cause. Actual injury. You can't abuse a civil legal process. You can't try to get in front of a judge administratively with the executive branch or judicially with a regular judge by like lying to get yourself in front of the judge and then hoping for something to happen. Like she did this same thing in her first divorce. She did the same thing in her first divorce, and she got the husband out of the house, and her mom and her dad went to Philadelphia or Berwyn, Pennsylvania, wherever they were living, and just took all this guy's property, basically. And that was it. They didn't have any kids, and so Heather just did the same thing, and she took all my property, not just our property, the 50-50 property, my property, my birth certificate, my car title, my tennis shoes, my underwear. I mean, everything. I'm not kidding. Everything. And that's known to the court, right? The court knows this. So you would think that the court would come in and say, well, wait a minute there. That's kind of maybe pushing it there, Ms. Rose. I haven't done anything. And the reason is because of what I just saw here. I'm going to pull it up. Probably going to have to go back in, I bet, because I've been out too long. So I couldn't get the application, so I pulled up the next best thing, and that was my motion for an agreed order. Find it. There it is. I have to go back in and come back in. Give me just 1 second. But anyway, so I came across this thing, and this is the next best thing to her actual, her application, which was mostly Travis doesn't wear a seatbelt, and Travis doesn't wear his bicycle helmet with the kids. And so sorry this is taking so long. So a bunch of documents are blocked. Most of the documents that are blocked are documents that can prove guilt of whoever's being talked about in the document, like say Nancy Denicus or a jailer or a judge, or if it proves someone as 100% certain guilty of official misconduct or professional misconduct causing intentional injury, it's blocked across all cases. So, welcome to America. And so I filed this motion to set aside the order and to replace it with an agreed order. So in this pleading, I'm saying to the plaintiff, well, before I get there, the reason I'm saying it to the plaintiff is because we just came out of court on the 24th. The judge has gone from 1 year to 5 years. Heather has lost her mind, and she's on the phone immediately breaking the judge's order by talking to Tony. And when I talk to Tone, he relays to me what she said. I'll take care of it. And I'm thinking like, Jesus Christ, woman, you've done enough. Just stop. That's Heather's whole thing. Once she started in anything, good or bad, she has no shut-off switch. And I'll take care of this. Here we go again. So I'm going to write a motion. The motion says, this happened. This isn't what you want to happen. This isn't what I want to happen. We're we're two adults. We both have doctorate degrees. You want to get a divorce? You want me out of the house? Okay, here's what we'll do. We'll withdraw. You will withdraw your. It'll be agreed that you will withdraw your application of excommunication or death. I don't even know. This thing shouldn't even be used. It shouldn't even be available to be used in the form that it's in right now anywhere. Not in Iowa, not in any state, because it doesn't even represent what it is. Like it comes out as like this big domestic abuse criminal. It makes you look like a wife beater. It makes you look like you're someone who physically punched your wife in the face. That's what all of them look like, and that's not what they. That's not what this. This doesn't even approach what this is. So anyway, so you write it, and what I did was I also included the order in there for her judge for the judge to sign. James Ellison had the gall to warn me. He says, "Don't you talk to your wife in your pleadings." I'm thinking to myself, what are you talking about? Don't talk. Well, she's the plaintiff. Who else am I going to be talking to? Right? That's what the man said. There's a tape of this. Of course, I've tried to get it 100 times, and I don't have it. We're going to get to the bottom of that today here in a little bit when I make a call. We're going to try and call the... Hey, Bill, how are you doing? This is Travis Starr. Say, I am calling for a couple reasons. One is I want to ask you to be a witness for me, or whether or not you're a witness for me or for anyone else is not really the difference. Witness for the truth. In a trial I have coming up, I have a trial. I received a scheduling order on the 12th. This is the third scheduling order that I received where I didn't get notice via email or real mail, and my guess is that's probably because someone would probably hope that I miss it. Tiffany Meredith and the state of Iowa is still representing my wife, who has millionaire parents, in this civil restraint case. And I'm going to ask her to be a witness too, because I'm not any longer. I don't have anything to do with Heather at this point. Heather hasn't had anything to do with this case for a long time. So I am defending myself by showing the intervention of government workers, some judges, some county attorneys, some administrators, a couple employees at the clerk's office, and then a whole bunch of jailers, including Nancy Danicus. So I'm on the computer today, and I'm thinking, okay, I've got to figure out what evidence I'm gonna get, and I'm gonna need a ton of money because I don't have any money for ink or paper. And I go to the very first pleading filed in the civil restraint case. My wife's original pleading, which I have a copy of, and it's blocked. It says its security level has been exceeded, and I have found this in a couple other places in my pleadings, and these tend to be the pleadings that are the most dangerous, the most certain in the official misconduct and the professional misconduct of people that are either talked about in these documents, or whoever the metadata shows is blocking these documents. And I'm told that you're a man that can make things happen, and I need every single block that has ever existed for any reason in my case to be lifted so I can see it. and I can print it and I can use it. The other thing I wanted you to do, if you would entertain me, indulge me just this one time, when I got into the system and I saw everything still blocked, which I had talked to Tina Thomason a while ago, and she said, "Well, Travis, that's just this rule they have and whatever." So I didn't touch it. I didn't argue it. I didn't do anything. But now I need it. But now I need it lifted. But if you'll go to case number DACV 052400 and go to D00 D0046. So what happens in my life on the 24th of August, and is on tape, which I can't have, and I'm going to try and get the court to give that to me because it would prove everything. But on the 24th, my wife comes into court on her civil restraint application, which said something about Travis doesn't wear his seatbelt, Travis doesn't wear his bicycle helmet. It was nothing. Anyway, she asked the court for Travis to be out of the house for 1 year during dependency of the divorce, and for there to be a togetherness provision where my wife controls everything. My coming, my going, vacations, church, sports, you name it. And that was it. So there were a lot of other bad things that someone's going to see one day on that tape, but this is just the one I want to communicate to you. It's important for this order right here. So judge goes out, comes back in, and he says, okay, we'll go with 1 year, no contact. And he gets in my wife's face, starts yelling at her, and tells her, Ms. Rouse, I want you to know that you will not be allowed to be together with Travis and the children at the same time for 1 year, or you'll go to jail for 7 days. Heather shot up. Her hand went up in the air and said, no, 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 no. That's not what I wanted. That's not what we wanted. The judge's gavel came down, and he said, okay, then how's 5 years sound? So that's how a multi-jurisdictional lawyer who could and did have any job that he wanted in Iowa government, that's how I get a 5-year no contact order. I've known Judge Ellison since my childhood. And I won my first case in front of him when I was 18 years old against a dirty cop who was overcharging. And it was Jennifer Miller's very first case, very first day on the job as a staff attorney for Kurt Ward. But anyway, the point is, he should have never wrote that order. But there's two orders. There's an order for 1 year on the record, and there's an order for 5 years on the record. So after my wife leaves that courtroom, before she even leaves that courtroom, she calls my brother Tony, who's going to testify. And she calls Tony and says, I don't know what happened. He says, I can't see Travis and the kids together for 5 years. I don't know what to do. Tell Travis I'll handle it. Tell Travis I'll handle it. Well, I'm the lawyer. Heather's done enough. She's hid the paternity of our second child from me. She's cheated with Carl Weems, which the Second Judicial District is well aware of from the governor's involvement with that. And if you'll read this order, Bill, Tina was telling me of a situation where she's like, Travis, I'm kind of sorry to inform you, but no one around here ever tells a judge what to do. We don't sit around and talk shop and tell a judge when he's done something bad. That's for someone else to do. Well, this someone has got to do something about this, because we go all the way back to the beginning of the case. I'm trying to find the original civil restraint application, and I got this order where listen to what he says. The defendant has asked the clerk to present this court a proposed order. No, I don't. No, I didn't. No one ever files anything with the clerk or the computer system or anywhere and asks the clerk to do anything. We file motions. And what I filed was a motion to set aside the order and agreed protection. In substance, grant the defendant's September 2nd, 2021 motion. Yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted the civil plaintiff, my wife, to agree with me to fix the horrific horseshit that this guy did. The clerk has complied with the defendant's request. I never asked the clerk anything by emailing the proposed order to the undersigned today. There was no clerk, and I don't think Janet was even there. And I know that the previous clerk was an attorney. No clerk got a hold of Judge Ellison and asked him to do something. I didn't want that done. That wasn't my intention. That's not the law. So my guess is it was Nancy Dankis. This court, then it says, this court ruled on the defendant's September 2nd motion on September 9th. Take note of that. I don't know if you're an attorney, Bill, but when you file motions, the plaintiff gets 20 days to answer. The judge is not supposed to jump in and do what the judge wants. Ellison does this all the time. Ellison was put on a ballot in 2018 for doing the same exact thing. The judge goes on to say that ruling was denied, or that ruling denied the motion, putting aside any procedural questions that might prohibit this court from granting the defendant's most recent request. I am not asking you to grant my request. I'm asking the civil plaintiff who has the power, not you. And this is one of the most egregious offenses a judge or a lawyer can make. This is the single reason, Bill, that we had a Revolutionary War. This is what we declared our independence from judges doing their own personal preference, prompted by their own private desire, intending to injure someone, me, and then concealing it and suppressing the truth of it. So I don't know how I can't just call you up, Bill or Tina, and have you guys look at, and have Adria look at this order and say, "Holy hell, we've got to do something about this. This clearly should have not been done." If you get a hold of the American Bar Association right now, Bill, and you ask them what attorney has spent the most time for contempt of a judge's order in jail in the United States, you know what they're going to tell you? They're going to look back 100 years, and they're going to tell you it's Travis Starr from Ames, Iowa. Now, and no one even guesses. People look at the 5-year no contact order. They don't even guess. They don't even go, "Well, that sounds kind of weird. Well, I wonder what he did. Do you attempt someone's murder?" No. So I was just so upset about this that I thought, there's no way that can be right. That I call you up, or I call Tina up, or I call Adria up, and someone doesn't say, "Yeah, this is what he did before. This is what he's doing again, and maybe this explains why Travis has been in jail for 766 days. Maybe this explains why he's got a 5-year no contact order. Maybe this explains why his wife, supposedly, I don't think she had anything to do with it, she went along with it, filed to terminate my parental rights. Private litigant to terminate my parental rights. And it took place in 60 days. Do you know how long those things take when the DHS does it? Guess how long it takes twice as long when the plaintiff does it, because they're guaranteed to be in opposition and to be adversaries, and they did that with that. I wasn't even at the trial. I had Christopher Clausen showed up, Bill. Christopher Clausen showed up at that trial, or Eric Manning, and he discovered at that trial that I was an attorney, and he discovered that I was as serious as a heart attack, which I had in your building one day because of this case. And I told him that I was going to sue. It wasn't just about the attorney disciplinary board. I was going to sue him myself. So he gets up and he tells the court, tells this young kid, 28-year-old guy, Hunter Thorpe, tells him, "Judge, I haven't done anything for Travis Starr. I don't have any evidence. I don't have any witnesses. I'm not prepared to represent him today. I don't know how I let this get by me. I should have called you weeks ago. I'm so sorry, and I shouldn't. I can't represent him going forward." And he leaves. I get up to follow him. The judge goes, "Where are you going?" And he sat there, tried to get me to willingly participate in that trial. Now, also blocked in the JV cases is an answer that I wrote for that JV case before I had an attorney, and I said, Fazio is attorney number one. And when it looked like they weren't going to allow, under the Sixth Amendment, they were going to deny my Sixth Amendment right and shove it right down my throat. When it looked like they weren't going to let Fazio be a witness, I was like, oh man, I got to get the heck out of here. And I did. I got out of their bill. And I didn't think that they would really have a trial without me. And on October 31st, I sent a birthday gift to my children. And I was so put out by all the awful things that I experienced in these cases and on the dockets, to be honest, that I had got the crazy idea that the jailers or someone would try to arrest me and jail me again for a long period of time for taking out, for buying those gifts. And sure enough, on I think November 11th, I discovered, holy crap, they did have a trial on the 4th. On the 4th of November, an order entered. And I didn't know anything about it, because you know that, Bill, they don't want me to see some of these things. And so I sent an email out to 178 people, Bill, 178 oversight agents in the state of Iowa, who I've begun now to fill in on what I'm doing and when I'm doing it, because everything that I do is blocked on the docket. And it was BCC'd. And I didn't know that Corey Davis, who you know as a jailer, was a member of Story County Board of Supervisors. And I don't think Corey Davis knew what the hell BCC meant. So after all of that experience of mine with Ellefson and with losing my parental rights and with everyone trying to conceal and protect Ellefson, I got a hold of 178 people in the state of Iowa to let them know what I thought was going to happen next. And then it happened. Corey Davis got a hold of the sheriff or Nancy, and they got a hold of whoever they needed to get a hold to. And next thing you know, Tiffany Meredith, representing my wife again. I can't, by the way, Bill, I've not been allowed to be represented by Shannon Leidy across the street. But my wife can be represented by the entire county attorney's office. And they did. They sued me. They arrested me. They tried to do it again. They've done it 3 times now. The first time I was imprisoned for 270 days for my speech against Ellefson in a pleading. The second time I was imprisoned for 4 months for even mentioning Ellefson's name in a Christmas card to my children. And this third time, I was about, who knows what they were going to do. So we're at court, and I'm in front of Judge Moore, and I put the pleading on Tiffany Meredith's desk when she comes in, to let her know that not only does she not have an intention, I didn't have an intention to violate an order that didn't exist until the 4th, and I didn't even have an act that was inviolate of the law, because my Sixth Amendment speech is protected. So we don't have an intention. We don't have an act. What do you think she did, Bill? Do you think she withdrew her fraudulent, malicious pleading? No, Bill, she didn't. She's kind of like your friend Ellefson here in this order, who says, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want, when I want to do it, and there's nothing you can do about it. And then they lay back and they say, I've got Nancy Denikis to protect me. I've got Bill Watson to protect me. I've got Corey Davis. I've got any number of people who will help the real wrongdoers, the commanders, conceal their harm. So that's why I need you to be a witness. And that's why I need you as an American. I need you to, however you lift, whatever the hell is blocking me from the docket. Bill. I need a block. I need help, Bill. I've been injured by my government in ways that, like, before now were inconceivable to me. Inconceivable to me that this could happen to a man. That a woman could cheat on her husband and lie about the paternity of her second child, cheat on her husband, come into court, try to do the right thing. Heather did try to do the right thing. She's tried 3 times to do the right thing. And guess what Ellison did? He overruled her. Because that's what Ellison does. We can't have Travis saying anything bad about Ellison. We can't have Heather saying anything bad about Ellison. And that's what's happening. And no one has the integrity or the Christianity or the love or the respect to go and say, you can't do this to people. And you can't be asking Nancy Dankis is probably an amazing person. Just like Michael Kennedy was. Michael Kennedy was listening to my conversations, Bill, in jail because the county attorney was having him do it. And he did a lot of really bad things to me as far as arresting me and other things. But I like Michael Kennedy. And on the 6th of June, Michael Kennedy came to me in jail. And he said, Travis, I just want to tell you I'm sorry for everything I ever did to you. And I was just astounded. My mouth had just dropped wide open. I talked to Michael for years trying to get him to blow the whistle, any jailer to blow the whistle on what they knew was going on. And he never did. But then 9 days later, he killed himself. I'm not mad at Michael Kennedy. I liked Michael Kennedy. I love Michael Kennedy. Michael Kennedy, like Nancy Dankis, or even yourself, was never sitting around saying, you know what, I think I'm going to go do this to somebody. They're always being commanded, Bill. They're always being commanded. And anyway, I just couldn't believe that I got on there today. I didn't find what I want. I was blocked, and then I was kind of mad about that, and then I ran into this old order, which took me all the way back to the beginning, which is just proof. It's literally proof of a judge ignoring the law of civil procedure and asserting his own personal preference, prompted by his own private desire, intending to injure someone, injuring them, and then asking someone to conceal it. Or whoever this, I doubt it was the clerk of court. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it was Nancy. Well, how did they get changed in the first place? Because on one moment they were fine, and then the next moment, I'll tell you when the moment was. The moment was January 29th, 2024, and they were there for a day or two, and I had a court date after that with Haney, and there'll be a tape of this. I sent it because I love the truth. I don't care. I'm not worried about hurting anyone's feelings. At the time I thought the sheriff might have some integrity, so I sent him, and I told him exactly what Nancy Dankis was doing, and I was expecting him to help me. I didn't know that they dated. I didn't know that he knew about all this stuff. Anyway, sheriff comes into court that day because he had all that evidence about Nancy doing horrible things. He cleared out the courtroom, literally cleared it out. Court reporter, everybody left. It was just me, my dad with Alzheimer's, and the sheriff and a handful of other deputies. And after every day after that day, anything incriminating was blocked. So, I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that the sheriff had a direct hand in that. And if you asked, I guarantee you, if you went and asked Haney about it, hey, Travis said you guys had court on this date, and the sheriff came in, cleared out the courtroom, and then went back and saw you after this court date. Is that true? And then maybe you could find out how it was everything got blocked. Because I don't understand. There doesn't seem to be an automatic block now. It seems to be, like I said, the stuff that's incriminating. I represent myself, and I will not be represented. Yeah, I am the attorney. I am the plaintiff. I am the attorney, and well, not only am I well, I don't know. Well, here's another thing. My PTSD is coming on. I'm not going to lose my capacity to talk here in a minute, Bill. Excuse me. When I was when I told you that story about the 5 years, where that came from. How can I say this without cussing? When when James went back into his office, it's time stamped. He emailed the attorney disciplinary board during my case and reported me to have my license suspended. He made an extrajudicial communication during my case. And do you know what ended up happening to me? I was in a halfway house just because I saw it on some movie with one of the Martin Sheen or something. And I thought, well, maybe I should do this. Maybe this is a good thing. It was a horrible decision. And they summarily took my license without a trial, without a hearing, without anything. And guess what, Bill? I wasn't even licensed in Iowa at the time. I knew I was going to get divorced. I knew bad things were going to come. I was taught if there's anything that could affect you as a lawyer, you get rid of your license, your own self, and you tell the bar, I'm going to get rid of it because this thing's going on, and I'll be back when I feel safe. So I didn't even have a license, and they took it. And then you know what they did? They called Arkansas and said, "Hey, we have an agreement with you. We took his license. Now you need to suspend it." And so they've been watching this very, very closely. And anyway, it's just like when things like that happen, like it's just like how can we not call up our fellow Iowans, you or Tina or Adria, and say, I'm going to send you a copy of the attorney disciplinary board complaint that this judge sent to me about me during my trial. And it's an extrajudicial communication, and it breaches his duty of fairness and impartiality to me. That was not a fair trial. But you know what I mean? Like, I should be able to do that. I shouldn't have to go to the JQC or go. I should just be able to have a conversation with you, back it up with a little bit of evidence, and have you go, "Holy crap, this guy's telling the truth." This guy. And here's another thing. I told them one time, I said, "You're going to have to kill me to stop me." And then you know what happened to me in December in that jail? I got pumped full of insulin. And I just found out I was diabetic. I didn't know anything about insulin. And by a jailer. And they have protocols, like they have a hospital across the street. They have this other place behind the building. And they're supposed to take you to the hospital with anything to do with insulin. And they separated me from the rest of the group. They put me up front for 2 days. I think they were. I'm not kidding you. I think they would have been fine with it if I had died. Because then I can't say anything bad about the sheriff. I can't say anything bad about Nancy. I mean, I'm telling you right now that there's a protocol. I mean, the judges all need to know this because this affects them. They have a protocol in that jail. I think it's probably lasted about 20 years. I don't know how long, but a long time. And so if you're poor and you're self-represented and any government worker has done anything wrong, all your information, you should have a direct line to the clerk. The clerk is your savior. The clerk is the First, Sixth, and 14th Amendment all day long. But that's not what happens, Bill. They take it. They're all told to take it when they're hired. You take it to Nancy. And then it sits with Nancy, and then the stuff that needs to be gone through is gone through, obviously, as in my case. And I have a. There's some evidence on here. If you go back and look at January 29th, I think that I'm talking to the clerk at first. I don't know that Janet Baldus is the new clerk, and I'm getting a hold of the clerk. I said, I need transcripts and I need videos of all this stuff. I don't want to talk anymore. I just want to push play on the videos, and we'll be done. And at first I thought it was Janet, but it was Nancy. Nancy was writing all those, and she signed a couple of them for me. What she didn't do was sign them for Gus Gustafson in Felix Mall. And you probably know about that case. In Felix Mall, you had county attorney's office who they were signing Catherine Austin's name on bad warrants before Catherine came over officially. And Jennifer Miller gave Gus Gustafson like $1,000 to do some research or some investigating, and we smuggled out like 122 writings. Mine were signed, theirs weren't. Guess what they found out? All 122 of those sons of bitches belonged to Nancy Dankis. Nancy Dankis' handwriting. So that's just. I mean, if you guys know, like I say, it's a hard place to be in because everyone probably likes Nancy, like everyone probably liked Michael Kennedy. Who's commanding her to do this? People that she probably trusts, people that she might even love, and that just. I don't care if you are elected. If you've got people doing that to you, they don't deserve to be sheriff, or they don't deserve to be judge. They don't deserve to be a boyfriend or whatever they are. All right, and then I think. Okay, and that's called level 1. And so, when I do I just need to say level 1, or does that go to like a specific like pacer system or something? Is it pacer? Okay. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for listening to me. I know that you, for whatever reason, I don't think you and I have ever gotten to talk this entire time. So, but I just, and I'll just tell you between you and me because I don't have anything to hide. I've lost everything, Bill, and I know what the truth is, and it's just the damnedest thing. It happens sometimes. It happens sometimes where a judge will make a mistake. They'll make a good faith mistake, or sometimes they'll make a bad faith mistake on purpose. Because we're human, or maybe James was having a bad day, or he had cancer and was taking treatments. I mean, it could be anything. But when you're a judge and those things happen, you can always fix it. You're like the only person on the planet that gets to fix everything that you do in the interest of justice. You can just go back and say, yeah, I did that. Yeah. and here's why, and I'm sorry about it, and we're gonna fix it. And I don't know why he did it. And when that happens, happens when you're a lawyer, this is the worst thing that can happen in law, and I'm sure that you know this and have seen it before, is whenever a judge adjudicates the matter he should not adjudicate, the matter that's lacking good faith, the matter that's lacking truth, the matter that's lacking actual injury, the matter that he should have just passed it on and sent the plaintiff back to do a little bit better job and then come back in. But whenever you adjudicate that which you're not supposed to, those are the worst. Those are the worst errors in law because they just absolutely destroy people's lives. And you know, but I need some help too. I just need some positive thoughts, and this thing can be fixed, and it shouldn't be this way. It shouldn't be this way. It shouldn't be this way in the second judicial district. This is just too much. This is just too much truth controlling, and we should be truth yielding. But it's good talking to you, and I'll be in touch as far as a witness and all that, and all I'll be asking you is technical questions, and that's it. All right, thanks, Bill. I just feel sick in my stomach because the thing is, like, the hurt and the pain is so great. When you start living it or reliving it, it gets so great, and then these people just aren't equipped to give you the relief that you need. They have got to get governors need term limits in Iowa. We need to elect our judges, and we need at least 24 people, 3 people to each of the 8 judicial districts, to monitor and enforce chapters 721, 51, and 32 for judges, for everyone in these justice buildings. Everyone in these justice buildings under 721, 32, and 51. And so and that's another thing too that's not really done, I don't think, anywhere in America yet, is these professional misconduct rules for judges and lawyers also apply to the people that work with and under the judges and lawyers. It's in the law. I mean, it's right. It's in there in Chapter 51. It's in there in Chapter 32, and it's even mentioned in the Model Rules of Professional Conduct, the rules upon which those laws are based. Like, I think Bill should be able to call. I think anyone should be able to read that order. Sounds like you're trying to undo what I just did to you. I don't like that. How does that even... All right. Let's turn this off.